When they tell you you have 12 to 18 months to live, it's definitely a wake-up call. For me in '93, I had lost 10 of my relatives to cancer, and my prognosis was worse than any of them. So I had to figure out what was I going to do different. What could I do? I've been funding cancer research for 20 years and knew nothing about prostate cancer. So the goal was, you have to change a paradigm. By visiting cancer centers, the first thing I discovered was that it was considered suicide to work in the field of prostate cancer. So the first commitment is we committed $25 million. Jonathan Simons, who today, in 2012, is the CEO of the Prostate Cancer Foundation, was that young scientist I met at Hopkins in 1993. Brilliant young physician scientist who they told, if he wants to go work in prostate cancer, that's career suicide. Luckily, I met him with Bill Nelson, who today runs the cancer center at Johns Hopkins, and told him they picked the right field. Not only was it not career suicide, but it's going to be the best funded research that he's ever seen. So first, you have to jumpstart it. Second, I was visiting MD Anderson, and I noticed there was no one from Memorial Sloan Kettering at MD Anderson. One of the scientists told me they're a competitor. They're a competitor for patients. I told them there are no competitors. As a patient or philanthropist, we want teamwork. There is not a competition here. And so we launched these fast track awards. I went over to the National Institute of Health and the National Cancer Institute, and I saw a submission of 9 feet for an award. They've been working on it for 18 months. They would find out whether they got approval or not in 18 months. Whatever it was 3 years later wasn't even relevant anymore at the speed that science was moving. So we decided we're going to announce a program that you can submit 9 feet, but we promise only to read the first 5 pages. In addition to that, we will let you know whether you're going to be funded in 6 months, and we will fund you within 90 days. So the waiting period was over. Third, most scientists were spending half their time, or 2/3 of their time, trying to raise money. Therefore, we'll go help raise money for you. We can increase your productivity by 100% or by 300% by letting us take responsibility for raising money for your programs and you taking responsibility for focusing full-time on your program. Now, many people said, you know, our work is so important that we can't share. We're going to have an article in Nature coming out in 12 months. And I told them, I understand your work is so important. Our funding is only for those that work is not as important as yours. Okay? The people we fund have to share. They have to share with others. We can't wait 12 months. And so because your work is so important, you'll have no trouble getting whatever funding you need for your program. We're going to give all of our money to those that share. Within 6 months, every single person that told us they could not share, shared. Fourth, go public. I looked at a program in Hopkins. They spent 12 years identifying families where more than 2 people in a family had had prostate cancer, going to individual doctors and scientists and looking for referrals. In 1995, we decided to put on a cancer summit, and we went on CNN. I called Larry King and said, Larry, we want to do a show on cancer. He said, Mike, are you crazy? People get depressed by a show on cancer. I told Larry, do you know 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women get cancer? He says, this is rating sweeps. I need high ratings. I said, okay, Larry, I'm going to call Ted. I called Ted and said, Ted, this show will be successful. So lo and behold, they agreed to do a show. 3,000 people where more than 2 people in a family had prostate cancer, watched and called in within the next 30 days. We accomplished more in collecting families in 30 days than had been achieved in 12 years. Today, crowdsourcing and other things can help you find those individuals. This created a movement to be part of a team, and coupled with young investigators, changed the face of prostate cancer, not only in the United States, but throughout the world.